being here. We'll talk about some really cool and important stuff, and then we'll let you get on with your day. So don't hesitate to ask any questions if they come up along the way. That would be a pretty good use of our time as well. So we could open things up with Brian and Sage Title and get an update, see what's going on in your world.
So we've been really busy. Thank you all very much. When I saw the capture numbers, we were at 100% for the year. So that's amazing.
Nice.
Todd Sims, we had a closing with you in May already. Jason Everett, if you're on there, we had a closing with you. Thank you. And Kelly Foster, we had a closing with you. Was there anybody else on there so I can throw out some virtual paydays?
I don't know. Sheena had a closing too. She was actually the fourth closing in the month.
Who?
Sheena?
Sheena?
Sheena.
Oh, okay. Well, kudos to Sheena then. I'm going to add her on the list. Thank you.
I think that one was one of yours too.
Who?
I got your payday, Brian.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Who else, Stacia?
That's it. Those are the only four I had.
Okay, good. So we have some new classes. Jason, did you get my email on the classes that we have? We have quite a few classes that we're offering through Title Resources. So if there's any of those that struck your eye, we can set up a Zoom. Either we have them for credit and we have them for no credit. The no credit ones are mainly marketing idea classes. Just look at it. They're so new that I really haven't had time to dig into them. But if there's anything on there, Jason, that you think might be worthy, I can have Matt, we do a Zoom class, either the ones with credit or the ones without any CE credit. So that is an offering that I had one just yesterday for the 1031 exchanges. I don't know if you have an interest or if anybody's buzzing on these, but one office was saying they were getting a lot of calls on people asking about 1031 tax deferred exchanges. So Matt said, look, I got a 2-hour CE, but I'll do it for you for 1 hour. It's no credit, but it's a question answer. He goes over the rules, you know, the replacement, the relinquished property, all the rules. And one thing that was interests me on it was he said 1031s, you're going to get 2 commissions on this because they have to sell and they have to buy. So it struck my, you know, it might be a vehicle if you hear this out there. And Title Resources is able to hold the money as the intermediary. So I don't know if that makes sense or not, but you do a tax deferred exchange, you have to have a qualified intermediary to hold the money. So anyway, if we want to do that, he's more than willing to set up Zoom classes. So I just wanted to put that out there today. But thank you all. You guys are really rocking and rolling. And I think Long and Foster just coming off that town hall after and before the last car hop closing, we got the tools in place here. I mean, it's amazing. What leadership? Am I the only one? I mean, I'm thinking this is fantastic. What are you guys thinking?
I'm definitely with you, man. Definitely with you. I feel really grateful that we have the tools and the leadership that we have. And I looked through that list of classes that you sent over, and I think there's a lot of good headlines in that. 1031 being one of them. You know, I'm vaguely familiar with what that means in that process, but I've never gone through that as, you know, personal experience. So definitely that's something that I would be interested in learning more about. So we'll get the list of classes out to everybody and see if we can't come to some consensus with a couple of those headlines and put something together real soon. So thank you. Thank you for that, Brian. So Miss Dawn, how's the insurance world? I know that Matt May, I see him a couple times a week, and it sounds like things are going pretty good in the insurance business.
Yes, they are going very well. I've actually gotten lots of good feedback from some of my lenders saying how competitive our rates are, when that's always a good thing. And we've also discovered that we're starting to be much more competitive with auto insurance too. So that
Awesome.
package bundling discount comes in handy. So yes, definitely.
It's awesome.
And I
Very
wanted
good.
to give a shout out to Adrian. She sent her very first buyer to me for his insurance, and I saved him money and got everything taken care of, sent John everything he needed for closing, and he is good to go. So thank you, Adrian. I appreciate your trust.
That's awesome. That's very, very cool. Sweet. Love it when that happens.
Yes, me too.
So, John, I know the mortgage business is starting to stabilize. Looks like interest rates are still insanely low. I haven't been a party to as many updates now because I think it's starting to settle back down again. Anything you want to share with us about that?
Yeah. So yeah, I would say that a lot of times no news is good news,
Yeah.
but meaning that there's no more restricting. But we had a conference call yesterday with the head of our company and basically the top two people in our company, Tim Wilson and Justin Messer, and they announced major relaxing of guidelines that were reactionary to the COVID-19 pandemic. So specifically, we have, it doesn't really impact us that much, but they took away manufactured homes. And so that those are back. So, you know, we do some of those, not a lot. We brought down the minimum credit score. Before it was 660, so now we're at a 640. VHDA, we can get exceptions to 620 to go VHDA. We do anticipate coming back down to 620 sometime soon. But right now, it's any good movement towards an improvement credit scores is a good thing. So we brought back. I mean, it got really tricky there the last month. So it's always a good sign. Yeah, Sharon. So Sharon asked, is the 640 on VHDA also? So technically, yes. And again, technically, yesterday we were at a 660, but I was able to get anything basically to 640 approved. The bucket between 620 and 640, it's going to be, they're going to take a look at every loan. If it makes sense, then they'll give an exception to do it. But right now, like the technical guideline is a 640 for VHDA, Sharon. But again, we can talk about each individual loan. But yeah, so rates are still staying low, and we foresee that happening, staying low for at least the foreseeable future. As things open back up and as the economy comes back on, we do anticipate rates maybe trying to stay in check and move up a little bit. But the Fed's going to do everything they can to pump money into the system to keep rates low. But yeah, so all good. Basically, it's very good news from my point of view as far as the market is stabilized and it's actually moving back towards what it was before. It's going to take a little bit of time to get back to where it was before. Probably take, I would say, 6 months to a year to get back to where it was right before everything hit. But we'll be 95% there the next 30 days or less. So we're already 80% there, back where we were, which is a really good sign. We're still doing a lot of the things that they put into place regarding the COVID-19 restrictions, specifically verifications of employment with 24 hours of closing. You'll see that most lenders just confirm that nothing's changed for employment. We're a little bit more inquisitive regarding changes in income. So if all of a sudden we see hours drop or income drop, we're going to really dig into that a little bit because we really do not want to miss something with as far as a reduction in pay or income and have the customer not able to afford the payment. They've come out with a little bit more clarification regarding people who have entered into forbearance as far as when they can qualify for a loan. Usually, so if someone has entered into forbearance and has continued to make payments anyways, they really don't consider that to be actively in forbearance. They're okay to refinance or to buy another house. But if someone entered into forbearance through the CARES Act, they're going to have to basically show 3 months payments post conclusion of the forbearance to be able to qualify for financing. So that's good for us to know. A lot of people took advantage of the program. They thought, hey, why not? And that could end up impacting. They won't impact their credit score, but it could impact their ability to qualify for a loan. Other than that, we're, business as usual. Everything's super busy at operations just because rates are low. The market is still very busy as far as purchases go. Lots of multiple offers. And
Awesome, man. So just to clarify, if someone took advantage of that forbearance program, and so, for example, they did a 2 or a 3 month forbearance on their mortgage payment, what it sounds like is it's going to be 4 to 6 months before they could qualify for a new mortgage, because they've got to end the term and then they've got to make 3 payments in addition after the end of the forbearance period. Is that right?
That's the guidance from FHFA, which is the Federal Housing Finance Agency, who kind of establishes the guidelines for Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and for FHA. And they're basically stating that, look, you told the government through this program that you needed help and that you couldn't afford. From a lender standpoint, although the job loss may be temporary, and that we still have to confirm that you have stabilized from a credit standpoint. So again, a lot of times for some people, really nothing has changed. The income is the same, but they chose to go with the program. So they have to put some sort of guidance on there. And of course, they could have said 6 months. If you go with the standard forbearance, it's usually you have to show at least 6 months to a year history after, like a standard forbearance. But so they are getting a little flexibility for this one, but they are going to require a 3 month payment post the forbearance ending. So you're right, it could be 6 months if they want to end. They can always choose to exit the forbearance right away to quicken that process if they wanted to.
It's good information. I think that's something that a lot of the consumers, a lot of the public aren't going to be aware of, and so it's good for us to know that, because you may at some point in the next week, 2 weeks, or month talk to someone who's thinking about making a move, but maybe they're still in forbearance, and so you can maybe educate them on that and let them know that there may be a time hurdle to overcome. Just because they got permission to not make that payment and it doesn't affect their credit score, there are still guidelines in place in the mortgage industry that would prevent them from getting another mortgage while they're going through this process. So I could see a lot of value in having that information and sharing that with the public. So that's good to know. Thank you, man.
Hey, Jason.
Thank you. So, yeah.
I've got one sort of question comment that is for seasoned agents and sort of includes John. So what we're hearing is that a lot of mortgages were not foreclosing for 6 months because of the COVID-19 issue, right? I think a lot of the government loans, right? If not everybody. And so people that did lose their jobs were able to, like you guys were just talking about, they didn't have to make a payment or whatever. Are we forecasting a flood of foreclosures because either that job completely disappeared or it simply resumed their already marginal salary that is not going to be able to sort of carry the extra load of catching up from those 3-6 months that that they didn't make a mortgage payment? So are we expecting a flood of foreclosures at the say January?
Well,
when we're all kind of back to normal?
That's a great question. I was commenting on it real quick. The CARES Act actually stipulates that it can be extended out for certain circumstances up to a year. Mm-hmm. If someone has been impacted by this, the first 3 months is basically the first 6 months is pretty much no documentation. You don't have to do anything. The second 6 months you can do it, but you have to provide a little more documentation to confirm your situation is been impacted. That was probably in March or April. So that really pushes us out to March or April Now, with that said, I guess another answer to your question is yes. I personally think that we will see an uptick in really, REO property next spring or next spring to summer when these properties, hit the wall. But there's a big difference between this point when there was no safety net like this at all. So if someone fell behind even for a month or two, they could have rolling delinquencies and get foreclosures. So this has been a lifeline and hugely necessary. So hopefully, if you think about it, if they can even get back started on their jobs, and they could still push out their payments. And we all know that generally the largest payment that we all have is our housing payments. So hopefully giving them the break of the extra time will allow them to save up, be able to make the payment is the hope. Obviously, if someone's job is gone and it doesn't come back, they have the unemployment there. That is their regular unemployment plus $600. So that could be enough. But again, hopefully they can find another job, and hopefully the economy comes back to a better job. Maybe they can find another one. So time will tell. I do think from where we were before, we had a really low foreclosure rate because of the employment was so good before this happened. So compared to where we were before, absolutely, I do think we'll see an uptick in it, but it won't be substantial.
Just two instances this time is the number of homeowners who have a significant amount of equity in their home, which they may be able to use to buy some additional time. So if they do fall down or fall behind because of a job loss or something, I think there's obviously a home because most homeowners today have a lot of equity, and so they will jump through hoops and bend over backwards if need be in order to try to hold on to that equity, which may limit the amount of foreclosures a wee bit, we hope, but it also may be an incentive too for some people to sell. If they've gotten themselves in a position where they just don't feel like they can dig their way out, but they do have that equity in the home, you could see a lot more listings coming on the market as a result of that too.
True.
And in lieu of foreclosure. So yeah.
Anybody
Cool.
have an opinion about capitalizing on that possibility in their advertising? Is that de rigueur or whatever, however you say that? Or is that a good advertising point to say, hey, you have some equity. I'd love to list your home.
It's when short sales were really hot back in the day, there are some agents that came up with a creative way to turn that into a blessing rather than, something detrimental. And they marketed the heck out of, don't foreclose, short sale, and let me help you through this process. And so I could absolutely see an opportunity like that. Yeah. A lot of homeowners, from what we understand today, don't even realize their equity position. And so the free home evaluation or market analysis or CMA, I think is something that for those people who may be struggling financially to get their mortgages caught up, that's something they're going to be looking at every single day is, what are our options, and do we have an equity position that would allow us to get out of this property without a foreclosure? So I think you can wrap creative marketing around just about everything if you do it right. Yeah.
Cool.
Any more questions?
I have a question. Good morning. I have a question for Jonathan. I just want to make sure for VHDA, is it still 660? I just want to clarify.
No, it's 640. So it's 640 technically, but I've gotten accepted down to 620 depending on the situation. So VHDA's minimum credit score is 620. Obviously, lenders can choose to have their own credit overlays. On top of that, now so prior to this, we've always gone down to VHDA's minimum 620, and I'm closing one. I just got an approval exception a couple of days ago for down to 622, because it was just like, again, depending on the situation, they really are looking at the employment. I know it sounds crazy. It's not really as much as the credit. Like the credit obviously is important and making sure you pull an approval, but they want to see, like, is their job situation stable? And the more stable, the better. So, so to them, the reasoning is that they are worried about early payment default and potential foreclosure if they lose their job. So if someone is a restaurant worker or a hairstylist, something that was severely impacted by the shutdown, they may be so far behind or have no money saved up. They might be in have a huge problem. But if you are work for a company that's essential and nothing was impacted and you have great job stability, that is a huge benefit for you. And again, I do see, I don't want to jinx myself, but honestly, within 30 to 60 days, we'll be down to 620. So we're moving in the right direction. And again, if you have a specific scenario where you're between that 620 and 640 mark, let's talk about it.
Okay, thank you.
John, I know the interest rate for VHDA has been 4% for a long time. Is it still now?
It's dropped, yeah. So VHDA as a mechanism to account for basic cash issues and risk issues jacked up their rates. I mean, they went from they were in the low threes. They were, just maybe a half a point higher than where rates are for a standard loan. Then overnight, they went up to like 5%. I locked in somebody VHDA loan because I did it right before they changed the guidelines, so we couldn't really have a choice at almost 5%. And they had been pre-approved at like 3.25 or something, 3.5, and they, so it was tough. But they have come back down a lot in the last 2 weeks. Depending on whether it's conventional VHDA or FHA VHDA. I think I just looked yesterday, you can do a VHDA, FHA through VHDA in the threes. So it's back down, and like you could probably get down to 3.5 to 3.875. I think it's 3.875 with the eighth of a point in discount. So
okay.
Good.
All right, that's what I need, because I have someone that's being quoted 4.5. And
is it conventional or is it
FHA?
Through VHDA?
Yes, FHA.
Are they pre-approved or are they already locked in?
No, they're just getting pre-approved, and that was the quote just like this past weekend.
Okay, yeah, that's high.
I'm kind of shopping around. Yeah, I'm shopping around for them.
Yeah, VHDA lenders have the ability. VHDA allows lenders to add basically a padding into their pricing to present it. We generally just what VHDA gives. So we should be more competitive. We can be more competitive. Generally, they're pretty close to each other. But
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
Inventory's low. Get some listings, man. I mean, numbers, and there's about 7,000 active listings and about 2,500 sales last month. So it's like just over 2 months of supply, 2.3 months of supply.
Yeah.
Your comment, when you made the comment about the hairdressers, though, they probably made up their whole loss yesterday when they were
I need a haircut so bad. Hey, Soren, who do you get to cut your hair, Soren? I need to go.
Out in Great Britain.
Okay.
Jason, you got yours, didn't you?
I did. I got my hair cut 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. I was ready.
Hairdressers are probably rolling in money today.
Well, I know I'm going to tip mine really well when I see her. So.
Yeah, I did indeed. So
we do have an appreciation for a lot of the things that we took for granted.
Absolutely, you're right.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys very much, Core Partners, without whom we would not be here. We love you and appreciate you. Stacia, if you want to kick over to maybe our agenda, I don't know if you have that pulled up.
I do.
Hey, Jason, I'm going to sign off. I gotta run.
Okay. Thanks, John.
See you guys. Everybody. Talk to you soon.
Can everybody see it?
Yep.
Probably see that new sales contract from Sharon.
Yeah.
So I was out yesterday, and on Monday we had 5 sales contracts turned in, which I have yet to touch. We had at least 4 listings between Monday and Tuesday, and I know there's a couple more in my email that I'm working on. So congratulations, guys, for giving me all of the business in 3 days. So far this month, our goal for listings every month is 8. We've currently got 7. Sheena's turning 1 in Thursday, so that will give us our 8. We've had two rentals. I know one's in Norfolk. I think, Jason, yours is in Suffolk.
Yep.
We have had, I lost count, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sales contracts that I know about. Again, there's, I think, another one in my inbox that I haven't touched yet. The average sales price is $245,000. We're almost at $2 million. Again, I think there's another one in there. It should put us over. We still have about 11 days left in the month to hit our goal. So keep bringing them in, guys. As Brian said earlier, we did have 4 closings. I believe all 4 of them were with Sage. I believe Sheena's was as well, because I don't remember picking a check up for her. So she got paid. So
Yay.
thinking that was a Sage one as well. So congratulations to everybody so far. I mean, we're doing pretty good for May with everything that's been going on. As a reminder, I'm on telework until June 10th. We just got the notice today. So everybody that's been asking, I'm here until June 10th with my horses in the background, maybe my son and husband, who knows. Jason's going to talk about Moxie. We are going to get the wall taken down. Woohoo! And get rid of those desks in the middle, change it up a little, make it more countertop space as opposed to the desks. So there'll be more room around the center. Jason mentioned shortening it at the end where the big TV is, where we always have our sales meetings, so we can see each other better. He also suggested or mentioned a conference area camera, which this is what the link was he sent me. I think it's super cool. There's like 3 options. We can attach it to the TV, have it hang overhead and just spy on everybody while you're in your meeting, or have it on the desk, which was the first picture. I think it's a great idea, Jason. Go for it.
So the thought was, that I like the idea of being able to offer the weekly meeting online via Zoom and other, technologies like this. And so I'd like to continue that even after the offices do open up. And so the thought is that we can have both. We could have a more inclusive experience for the agents who can't be here for those sales meetings, but also keep the in-person and face-to-face office environment alive by meeting here and sharing that experience online through a tool like Zoom. And so I have been entertaining the idea of getting a camera that would facilitate the room, the size of the room that we have here with audio, and allow us to share that experience with people who aren't here in the office. And so I've been looking at different cameras. And I think probably to go along with that, it would be a good idea to at least reduce the height of that blue wall so that it's a more open, inviting, experience for the people who are here. And so, so we can make better use maybe of the screen that we have at the end of the room there for those people who sit in the middle. And so that's something I had a contractor in here last week looking at. And so I'm excited about the potential and the possibility of reducing the height of that wall, maybe the length of that wall, and just making it more functional, but also more attractive and inviting of a space. And then if we get a camera that will accommodate this room size, I think it would be a good way for us to share with one another, even if we're not together, sort of like we are now. So those are definitely big items on my checklist. Moxie, I hope you guys took well, it got a little bit long, but last week's TGIF, I think, went 20 minutes. I don't know if you noticed or not, but what I was sharing in there was some information about Moxie Promote and the Real Scout tool, and how we can use those tools to better share, our knowledge on social media, and sharing those properties and the information, and how it doesn't have to be a property listing. It can be, an ad for the service you provide, that you can run through Moxie Promote. And so I just wanted to touch base with you guys and let you know that I did go into some depth in the last week's TGIF video. And so if you're not aware of that, you might want to go back and check it out. But these are really, really good tools that I want you to be aware of.
I have not updated the mortgage and title referrals yet for May because, again, I still have a whole week, like 5 or 6 to go through, which I haven't touched yet. So the next meeting we have, which will be our sales meeting in June, I'll have all the numbers for what we've given them. But listening to Brian, title, we're at 100%. So keep bringing them. Keep bringing them. Just a reminder also, which clearly I have no off days, even though I am off. Monday, Jason and I, it's Memorial Day, so we have a staff holiday. But being that the desk is in my dining room, I answer just about everything anytime usually, except for on election day, as you guys all witnessed yesterday. We may have another learning at lunch. Jason and I haven't had one in a little while, but maybe we'll work on that. But potentially it would be Tuesday at 12. Another office meetup. No agenda for those meetings, just talking about stuff. May 27th. Another learning at lunch, which would be June 2nd, and then our sales meeting for June, it's the 3rd. So just keep those dates in mind. We've had a couple birthdays, which we talked about last time, but Jason Everett, he'll be here 1 year, May 31st. Woo! Congratulations. Maybe in June, we'll be able to go back to Buffalo Wild Wings because we haven't celebrated anybody really. So let's do that. And also, the last thing I have on the agenda is actually a mask that Long & Foster is working on. We'll be able to order them in multiples of 10 or 25. So I believe they'll be cloth masks. I don't really have all the details except for the really cool picture that they gave us in an email. But that is something that they're going to be giving us to, I'm assuming, have in the office for us to utilize. For the first time in like 3 weeks, I was able to order the office toilet paper and paper towels. So hopefully, cross your fingers, Jason, they will be there tomorrow. They're not on back order anymore. So we'll be stocked up with all kinds of stuff for when we do reopen the offices to the public. But you guys can still use them, the offices, that is. If possible, if you're getting a commission check, you can always have it mailed to my house. Just give me a call, text, email, and I can get you the address. I've had at least 3 mailed here. I've had a couple dropped off. I know someone's waiting for one currently to come to the office. If you get a settlement statement and it's your listing, please, 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 please give that to me as soon as possible so that I can update the MLS, especially if it's our listing. I don't want us to be defaulted, especially with mail not necessarily getting to where it needed to be in a certain amount of time. As Kelly can agree, we almost missed a date because we hadn't had the Alta yet. So please keep that in mind when doing closings for listings. Buyer sides, I suggest using Sage. I don't even have to worry about that. They email me the Alta, and they pay you. They send the money to Long and Foster, and then y'all get paid. I don't even have to worry about that. So always use Brian and Debbie.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think that's everything that I have. Just know that I've got lots of listings that y'all have put in, and sales contracts. And if you don't believe me, here's my list. I can't see it, but there's the list.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, it's really, really encouraging to know that business continues. You know, even under our current circumstances, you know, people need to buy or they need to sell, and we play an integral part in that story, in their story. You know, so it's encouraging, and it should make all of us feel, you know, valuable. You know, that we are providing a very valuable service to the public who needs this, and so it's pretty cool. I want to take just a minute and share my screen and show you some of the takeaways. So we had the town hall today. Hopefully you guys were on it, but I made some notes as it was going on, and I just wanted to share with you, you know, some of my takeaways from today's town hall. And first being technology, you know, because I mean, Long and Foster, I think, has done a good job of putting together a package of technology for us to use as agents to share our value proposition with the public. And so while it is in a lot of ways, it's a blessing, but it's also difficult because, you know, I find it difficult, and I know a lot of you find it difficult to invest the time that it takes to learn it. And then, you know, once you've gotten the basics figured out, it still takes a time commitment to use it consistently. And unfortunately, consistency is what pays off for us in the long run. You know, our job is to consistently remind people around us that we provide real estate solutions. And we have tools to help us do that, be it the new and improved neighborhood news, which I talked about last week in the TGIF. It has gotten so much better than it was before. I think I told you in the video, I waited 5 years for that improvement, and it's finally here, and I'm so excited about it. So check that out. You know, use the campaigns, use the items of value that come out all the time. You know, use the phone or the text or the video, but our job is to consistently remind people around us that we provide real estate solutions. And technology can really, really help us to do that, but it does take an investment. It's a sacrifice in some ways, but it's an investment more than anything. I think, you know, as entrepreneurs, we have to either invest time or invest money in order to build and create a business. It doesn't come to us. It doesn't come to most of us naturally and automatically without an investment. And so whether it's time or money, you know, obviously sometimes, you know, time is a little easier to invest, but we've got to time block, and we've got to make it a priority in our business. I thought it was an interesting, you know, statement that contacts equal contracts. And so it goes right back to the neighborhood news and the Moxie campaigns and the items of value. You know, you have to be making regular contact in order to expect contracts. So I thought that was pretty cool. And with 90% of buyers and sellers starting their home experience online, technology plays a huge role in the development of our business. And so we have to find a way to provide online relevant real estate content and put that in front of our audience. And our audience is made up of either people we know or people we don't know, right? So the people we know are our sphere of influence, and the people we don't know are leads. And so you can buy leads, or you can, you know, develop your relationship with your sphere of influence and continue to build and nurture a relationship with those people that you already know. The benefit to that is that the conversion rate or the referral rate of developing your sphere of influence is much, much higher than the conversion rate of working with cold leads that maybe they're expireds or FSBOs or withdrawals or Realtor.com or Zillow leads. Those conversion rates are very, very low. But for some people, those conversations are easier to have. And so you've got to figure out then if you would prefer talking to people you don't know versus developing the relationships that you already have, and how do you find those people? How do you get in front of those people? Because you need to have a much wider audience. Obviously, we all don't know as many people as we do know. And so, for that reason, we've got to find new ways to market ourselves online. It needs to be online for most of us because that's where most buyers and sellers start their search. And I think, for me, it's always been, through those lead type portals, be it Realtor.com or Zillow or Market Leader or Homes.com, that type of relationship is where most of my business started. But for you, it could be something totally different. You just need to find your comfort zone and then find a market or an advertising method that you can invest in. And you're either going to invest time or you're going to invest money or you're going to invest maybe a combination of both. But this is some of the things I was thinking about as I was listening to Gary and Boomer and Jeff Detweiler and Brian talk about, where we are as an industry and as a company, more importantly. And I was really encouraged that on every level, we continue to outperform expectation and outperform the market. I thought that was really, really good. While they expected business, to maybe go down 65% in April, they were only down, 40% or something like that. And in every state and territory that we're in, we're outperforming the market right now. I think that's really, really encouraging. And those are bullet points that we can use to share the story of Long & Foster and our core partners, be it Sage or Prosperity or Tailored Move or insurance. On every level, this company was built for this type of experience, this all-in-one encompassing, Walmart service, Walmart experience. Everything you need is right there under one roof. So I thought that was pretty cool. And for the newer agents, I think it was Boomer that said, confidence projects competence. I thought that was really powerful. Confidence projects competence, because I know a lot of times for the newer agents, they don't have a lot of confidence. And so there's some fear in that when someone's going to ask them a question and they're not going to know the answer to. I was talking with a new agent yesterday who has that concern. And so the root, what I surmised was the root of our business is that real estate contract. And so if you will take and invest the time to learn that contract, every page of that contract, that will give you the confidence to project competence. And I thought that was really cool, because if you know the contract, you know a lot more than your consumer does. Because unfortunately, that darn thing is long. And there's a lot of information in there. And the entire process essentially is laid out in the contract and the addendums that go with it. So if you will invest the time to learn the contract and those addendums, I think you will come out of that with a lot of confidence that people will interpret as competence and trustworthiness. So those were, I think, those were my takeaways from the virtual town hall. I thought it was really, really good. And if anyone would like to elaborate, please feel free.
Jason, I watched it, and I'd just like to comment that I truly enjoyed watching Boomer explain all that the company had, all that the company had provided in training and coaching and mentoring and the tools. I mean, as everything they started doing, as they said, it's been right about 60 days now since all this really was taken seriously. I mean, we have a multitude of tools online that they have provided. And I just think it's fantastic. I mean, to think that they turned an entire company, 10,000 agents, 7 states, they turned it around in like 3 days to a virtual company. I mean, if you think, that's incredible that they were able to do that. And all of the online webinars and things, anything that you need to know, you can watch and learn on the webinars. So I watched the Tech Week webinars, and you know, that's incredible. All the tools that are available to us on there that I didn't even know about. It's just like the agent icon. I didn't realize that that's actually a software programming in the cafe that we can use. I thought all we could do was send them the picture and they would send us back that picture. But you can actually log into the agent icon and use multitude of pictures. You can even use the gallery pictures or upload your own client pictures, and they will put those words on there. I was just blown away, blown away. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share before we sign off?
No.
Hey, Jason, you were
Question?
talking about marketing and things like that. All my business comes from my sphere and referral, which I'm very blessed about.
Mhm.
But I still do my sphere and I work it all year long, as you know. But when you're doing a sphere, or if you're doing like a neighborhood, keep in mind that if you send the same thing out, just like when you drive down the road and the first day you see a sign, you go, oh, cool, look at that sign. And after that, you don't really notice it again. So do things different. Like I call my clients of 400 people at least once a year. I send out 2 mail outs and I send out an email if I have it. Some of my people I don't always have emails to because they changed or something like that. But it does a couple of things. It keeps up your sphere of influence if they have moved or changed or anything else. And you'd be surprised that if you talk to somebody or have sent something else, and I always send out in October Frosty coupons, and I can't tell you how many calls I get for that. But the thing is that I usually get business off of it, meaning whether it's 1 or 2 pieces, someone will say, you know, I was thinking the other day and I was talking to somebody and I'm going to call them and remind them that you're an agent. But always do something different, because we do get very zoned in on the same thing, and then it kind of like we don't look at it anymore. And that's my 2 cents.
Yep, that's very true.
Very good. Very good. Well, I can't tell you guys enough how much I appreciate each and every one of you and your contribution to this office and this team. Thank you for showing up week after week and putting forth the effort. I mean, that's half the battle. So, hey, Bella.
Hey, Jason, I have a question. Okay, so for you seasoned agents, do you keep in contact with clients that have moved out of state?
Funny you said that, because I just got a referral from a client I sold a house to 3 years ago. And I send a calendar and do my sphere. Like I just told you, I do 4 things to everybody a year. And they referred me one of their friends here that's moving that they've kept in touch with.
Okay.
So to answer your question, yes.
And Marvella, I do too. I have buyers that moved from here to Georgia, and then when her father passed away in Texas and they had to sell the house in Texas, she called me for a referral to an agent in Texas.
Okay.
So I had nothing to do with it, but I was able to make a referral fee on it. So yes,
Okay.
I do
Great.
also. Mhm.
Thank you.
And Jason, can I plug one more thing?
Sure.
I know I know that you like, and I do too, Breakthrough Broker. Love it, love it. If you've never signed on, you're missing out. I went on Breakthrough Broker yesterday, I think it was. Yeah, I took my dog to doggy care, and so I got a lot done yesterday. And sent out 100 cards that were so cute because it was like a little monkey standing upside down on a pole that said, hang in there. And it was all pre-done, text and everything. 100 cards out yesterday with just a few clicks of the button for $62. And I thought it was great. Great, great, great. Just hang in there. We're all going to make it through this. If you have any questions about real estate, here I am. I have been looking for something like that, something really easy, simple. And wow, it was great.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yep.
Thanks for sharing. So, and to go back to Marvella's question too, I've had a couple of clients come to mind. Debbie and I have had clients, that we helped here, and they moved out of state, and then years later they moved back, and they looked us up because we do definitely want to try to maintain those relationships. So, yeah, absolutely. I don't spend as much money on them. So when they move out of state, I stop sending them the American Lifestyle magazine usually. But if we can, through social media, stay in touch with them, then we always try to. We'll send them a birthday card, or we'll send them a congratulations card, even if they live in Texas or someplace else, because we're following their life through social media in a way, and that helps to secure our place in their mind. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Anybody else?
All right. Thank you guys again for being here. Really, really appreciate it. This has been recorded. Thank you, Stacia, for all the cool stuff that you do. You are absolutely amazing, and really, really, really glad to have you on our side.
Even at home.
Even at home.
I do have one more thing we need to talk about.
Okay.
Remember the restaurant? He just blanked out on me.
It
Sherman
does.
would know what I'm talking about
Text
too.
me.
The restaurant idea. Meal.
I know what you're talking about.
We talked about it Monday.
yeah.
I know I'm not the only one.
Yeah, no, yeah, okay, I got it. Yeah, so we were in a meeting with Brian, corporate Brian, the other day, and he has invited both the Norfolk agents, or those agents that used to be in the Norfolk office, as well as the Suffolk office, to find an organization or a group that might support the medical community. This is the example that was given. So the medical community is getting a lot of support from the public right now. And one of the ways that they're being supported is that restaurants are providing lunches or dinners or, some sort of a meal to those healthcare workers as a way of saying thank you for being on the front lines of this COVID virus. And so there is an idea that we've been discussing, and I'd like to continue this discussion with you guys and invite you to offer your 2 cents, your opinion, and help us to come up with a way that we can partner with a business to support those frontline healthcare workers by providing them something of value. This is good or bad, but hypothetically, the example would be we, as the Suffolk Long and Foster office, give $1,000 or more. We set up a fundraiser for Marco's Pizza, for example, next door, and we start that fund off with $1,000. And so any person, any frontline worker who hears or sees our message, be it on social media or otherwise, can go to Marco's Pizza and get, a breadsticks or a pizza or whatever it happens to be, or maybe it's Metro Diner and maybe it's lunch, because we have a lot of medical community around this office. And so we can start that fund with $1,000, and we can invite other people to contribute to that fund. And so the benefit to Long and Foster is obviously we're supporting those in our community, but the marketing side benefit of that would be that Marco's Pizza or Metro Diner is promoting this benefit that we at Suffolk Long and Foster have put into place, right? So they're sharing it on their social channels. We're sharing it on our social channels. So the reach of something like that can be absolutely huge while we're providing a very valuable benefit to those working on the front line through free food. So I hope I've explained that in a way that you can understand it. But Brian at corporate has offered to give us $1,000 to start this off with. All we have to do is come up with the group or the restaurant or the organization that we want to support. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be limited to $1,000, but $1,000 will kick it off. And I think there's a lot of groups that we could support or help with that kind of money, and really, 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 help the public and make ourselves look good at the same time. I think it's a win-win. I think it's a really, really good idea.
I love it.
Norfolk has the same opportunity. So Soren, I know that Brian has asked you guys to think about maybe something in Norfolk to, I don't know, if you've come up with anything yet, but I'd love to hear you expand on this.
Well, my first thought while you were talking was that the search for a deserving business could also be an advertising point unto itself. I thought about putting out on my social media, saying, hey, talking to my followers, do you know of a business that is struggling, a restaurant, let's say, that is struggling and needs help, comment. And then that way it's almost a crowdsource, for ideas. And then we can really target a business that is struggling. Of course, all businesses, everybody's going to say their favorite restaurant because all businesses, but I thought that would be a cool point to reach out as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Soren.
It actually layers on another opportunity to win, right? Because we're going to a business that could use the financial help, and we're providing them help, and we're helping those people on the front lines, the healthcare medical community, and we're getting the medical benefit or the visualization, the benefit of the social media channel. So one of the things that's important to keep in mind when looking at a business to support in this way is maybe that smaller mom and pop type shop that has their own social media following. If we go to a Metro Diner or a Marco's Pizza, for example, they may not necessarily be in charge of their Facebook page or their Instagram page. So, we might not get the boost that we would like to get if we went to, Steve and Sally's, down the street. So,
or Mel's. Isn't Mel's like a private thing? Mel's Diner?
I'm not familiar with Mel's, but
so the one right down. Yeah, sorry.
So having a Facebook following that they have direct control over, I think, is also one of the ingredients that we want to keep in mind when finding that business. So if you guys have, if anything comes to mind while we're talking about this, feel free to send us over an email or something, and let's see if we can't come up with something in the next couple of days to put this together. Yeah.
What would be the logistics of that? Surely we couldn't just hand over $1,000 to some restaurant. How would that be handled?
It's more along the lines of we raise money, collect money to buy the food from the organization and then deliver it to the
okay, that'd be cool.
Is that what we're doing, Stacia? I thought the idea was more so just they mention whatever we come up with, the frontline workers mention it and they get the discount off their bill, whatever we decide, but like $10 off.
I think that works too, but I don't know how you would do that. Like we'd have to somehow, like Scott said, fork over the 1,000 already, but he also suggested raising more money so it benefited others. Just,
Well,
what I mean?
Stacia, if they're going to go buy that business is going to have receipts. That I would say that they would have to provide receipts of what they've done with that 10% off, because I mean you still have to keep up with your money as a business for the IRS, no matter who you are.
Correct. But,
Hopefully.
right. But you have to think too, how are they going to get it from us?
Yeah.
Well, and we might
could
be
be a daily thing. Like every afternoon, they would call in with their receipts, and that would be what we would pay them for the day. I mean, that would probably be a pain, but that would be the only way I could think of it.
I know a couple.
They are struggling.
I know a couple of places who, like I said, did what I just said. The person gives the money to the restaurant, and the restaurant puts together meals to deliver to the hospitals.
that may end up being easier logistically.
Right.
But that means that's a little more targeted. We have to find a hospital or find a clinic or whatever.
I know in Suffolk, we have one right down the street. It's not a.
And at what point do all these people know that Long and Foster delivered all these meals?
Because we would have like
Yeah,
a sticker on the box, or.
Okay, I'm just asking.
I mean.
A sticker on each sandwich.
That's what we have to talk about. That's why it's a topic of discussion.
Yeah, and I think that's, I mean, so all options are on the table at this point. What we know is that they're offering to put up the money if we can work out the details. So I just think it's a really good idea. I would love to take advantage of that. I would love to support, a group, an organization, be it healthcare or first responders. It could be, a fire department. It could be a police station. It could be a combination of things. I think those are really good entities that we could support and make ourselves look good in the process. And it's the social media exposure that we're looking for. Now, I mean, if Wavy 10 on your side happens to show up, that'd be okay too.
Oh yeah,
but I think social media is probably the primary target for this adventure. And so we'll just, we'll give it some thought and definitely share your ideas and see if we can't figure out a great way to give back to the community this money that corporate has offered us. So
right.
both
It could be
in
something
Norfolk
like,
and Suffolk.
it could be something like Long Sisters support ABC restaurant giving to medical workers.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
My son just he and I guess a partner just opened up a food truck.
Okay.
And it's pretty much in the Norfolk area. I think it's Oh No, Oh Yes. Oh No, Oh Yes. And they've done that. They've done CHKD. They donated 60 meals, and they donated meals to Virginia Beach General. And the people were very happy, the workers,
Mm-hmm.
of course. I mean, we like to eat,
Yes,
Yeah.
So that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
think it's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because, a lot of them don't have time to go to lunch.
That's for sure.
To stop and eat. Yeah.
Scott, that's similar to what we would be doing. He said, what if we advertise the date ahead of time and we went and bought 10 pizzas, for example, and we take it to them? That's an option. It's one of the choices.
That's good.
Yeah, I love that. All right, guys, we have exceeded our 1 hour. So thank you all for your patience. Very, very good to see you guys. And stay in touch.
Yes.
Thank you, Stacia.
No problem. Bye, guys.
Air hugs.
Air hug.
Bye.
Bye.
Special effects.
Bye.